Hello and welcome to the PC Security channel. As you can see, today we'll be taking a look at McAfee's brand new LiveSafe, which is now of course a part of Intel, and we'll see how their brand new product performs against a ton of malware. So to start with, the installation isn't exactly the most pleasant experience that you'd have hoped for. Unlike other products, McAfee has a specific installer for each machine that you try to install this product on. So let's say you want to reinstall it again. So you again have to log in to your website on the McAfee website, of course, and you have to go to your account and you have to request another installer. And you get a serial key and the installer, and they both have to be used together. You cannot get an installer again and use the previous serial number. No, you have to use the same serial number that the installer came with when you requested the download. So it's a very painful process to install, even if you've got a full 1-year license, let alone the trial users. In fact, McAfee doesn't even give you a new trial for every version of their product. They only give you one trial for your lifetime. So let's say you've tried McAfee Internet Security 2012. Well, that's it for you. You cannot try McAfee Internet Security ever again. So that's how their installation procedure works, which is very different from most other companies. I can see why McAfee is doing this. They're probably overly cautious of hackers and crackers who are going to bypass their activation and probably make people, use this product without a license. But I just don't see why so much security is necessary just to install the product. I think they could have a way better system because this way, you just start off with a really bad impression. Now, the next thing you'll notice when you install McAfee is the RAM usage, which has improved a lot from previous versions. But it still uses what? At the moment it's using more than 150 megabytes. I have seen this go down to around 70, but it's still very heavy. It drags down the system more than pretty much any other product that I've seen. Once you get it installed and running, you'll almost feel the difference. Like every single animation, every single task that you perform will be that little bit slower. So for dinosaur age computers, McAfee is not a good choice. So the two things that are really mostly the user experience, that is the installation, the user interface, and the resource usage. All of these go against McAfee, which is something that is really surprising considering the kind of marketing they do. This is the basic motivation for most of these companies is to market their products as well as possible. And in this case, McAfee, although they do all their advertising, they spend so much money into marketing, and they install this product basically on like every Intel machine just so that some people who are, just have no idea about anti-malware products will just renew it. I just don't see why they don't improve their user interface. Yeah, this is better than the previous user interface, but it's still way behind most other products. It's still not as simplistic as I would like it to be. It still feels cumbersome to use this outdated pattern of user interface where you basically have to navigate from component to component, and you have to look at these options this way. I'm sure there could have been a way better layout for this. So enough of talking. I don't want to judge a product before the test, which is something a lot of people complain that I do very often. So in this case, I'll just stop it here. We're going to look at the results, and then I'll be able to tell you more about this product. The most important part, as always, is going to be security. But before we actually get the test underway, just wanted to show you guys that it is indeed up to date. I'll do a check for updates. As you can see, the user interface design is very inefficient. Like, they waste so much space, and they have got so many different windows and layouts for each and every component. They could just have had their whole user interface in this one big screen, which I don't know why they don't do. So updates have been installed. We should be all good to go now. So I'll close their user interface, start up Internet Explorer, and you can see where we're going. We're starting the link test. So I'll just go ahead and enable McAfee's secure search. So I guess it asked me to restart my browser, so that's what I'll do. And hopefully we're good to go now. So we've got their little toolbar over here, which I don't really fancy because, I mean, how many people use Internet Explorer? But from what I've seen, McAfee Site Advisor is a pretty useful prevention utility. Malware quality hasn't been that great lately, so I've just grabbed 5 links, but it should be enough to get the basic idea of how McAfee's web prevention works. Don't worry, I'll make up for this in the second part of the test, which is the detection and 0-day test. We'll have a lot of samples there. Looks like McAfee's Site Advisor has blocked this download, which is a really good thing. I'm not going to download it because it's basically a waste of time. It's being blocked by the signatures. The second link, this is a phishing website. Now, since McAfee have an anti-phishing, I decided to try this out. And it's being blocked. So that's pretty good. So it's 2 out of 2 for McAfee. So security-wise, not too bad so far. Once again, Site Advisor to the rescue. We're not going anywhere near that website. Once again, download has been detected, so we'll just go ahead and block it. Won't be downloaded because McAfee has blocked the website. So this is a zip file still. It's detected no different, so that's nice. So McAfee has got a clean sheet in the web prevention test, which is not a huge surprise considering I just tried 5 links and most of them had fairly high detections in Firestore. But now is the interesting part where I actually get to play with a lot more malware. So where's the real-time scanning? I'm just going to turn this off for now. And we'll grab our wonderful malware samples. We've got plenty of these today. I guess 1,372. That's a fancy number. So it should be a really good test. It should tell us what kind of signatures McAfee has these days. I mean, being an Intel company, considering the kind of workforce they've got, you would expect a product like this to get a really good detection ratio. But that's not always the case, as we've seen in the past with Norton and even McAfee. So will it perform as well as we are expecting it to? I don't know. We'll find out soon enough. So we've got 1,372 items here. Don't mind the fancy names. That's the artistic work of Slade. But anyway, let's go ahead and test it. So first of all, I'll just do a right-click scan with McAfee. Now, this is another part where I don't like McAfee too much. Their scan speeds in the past have been fairly slow, although they do detect and fix issues at the same time. I would definitely like this to be a little bit faster. But let's see if they've made any monumental improvements in this version. As far as I can see, no, they haven't done anything such. So I'll have to pause the video and I'll be back when the scan is complete, and then we'll see how many McAfee has detected out of this fairly large sample. Welcome back. As you can see, according to McAfee, all issues have been resolved. I did select all the PUPs and everything that it found, and I asked it to quarantine all. So now we should be free of malware. But of course we're not, because McAfee doesn't have 100% detection. No way. It's left 174 items, which translates to a detection ratio of 87.31%, which is respectable. It's decent, but is it exceptional? Is it ahead of everything else? No. In fact, it's not even top tier. It's probably second tier detection, stuff like this. Although this is okay, you would expect a little bit more from a paid product, especially one with the kind of history of that McAfee has. I mean, they've got so many people working on signatures, and signatures is their strength. So you would expect them to do a little bit better here. I'm really waiting for the day when McAfee gets into the 90s group, which it hasn't so far. It just stays at around like high 80s most of the time, which is okay, as I said, but not great. So now, let's see what kind of protection they give you against zero-day malware, which is basically my major concern. Once again, intrusion prevention is disabled by default, which is kind of weird. I don't know why they do this. I guess McAfee just want their protection to be absolutely not user intrusive and more user friendly, but at the same time, they have really high resource usage. Their user interface is clumsy, so I mean, instead of turning off intrusion prevention, why don't you improve on those things, McAfee? That would work both ways and would be a win-win situation. Now, right now, if you turn this off, you're basically reducing your security by a very big factor. So for this test, what I'll be doing is I'll just turn this on and keep it on basic because I'm not sure how many false positives this is going to result in. And the funny thing is, they actually say basic intrusion prevention is recommended. So I don't know why it's turned off, but I'll just turn it on and set it to basic, and then we'll see what it can do against these samples. Now, McAfee also has a cloud, Artemis, so let's see if it detects any more. As usual, a lot of these files may not work correctly. This is a feature of pretty much every test. So McAfee has crippled a lot of this malware as well, which is a good thing, and it's going to work to its advantage. Now, a lot of people keep asking me the question that, well, why don't you verify the detection ratio after every test? Why not scan with some other engine and see what is the detection ratio? But that barely solves the problem, because then how am I going to test that engine? So it means if both engines don't detect it, I'm basically giving both of them a clean sheet, which is not the purpose of the test. The purpose of the test is to bring out the weaknesses in different products and showcase their strengths as well, which I think this procedure does very well. Looks like a lot of these things are not going to work correctly, so I may have to do a slightly different test to actually check out McAfee zero-day protection. A lot of these are just opening up Notepad. I don't know if they're doing something in the background or if that's just it. That's what they're designed to do. Just look pretty. This is interesting. Something got blocked by Artemis. So that was a PUP. Here's another one. That's good news. McAfee doing something in this part of the test is always good to see. Once again, Trojan removed. Artemis, so their cloud is contributing to the security, which is good to see. Okay, we've just got different languages in Notepad. This Russian, I guess. This is Chinese or Japanese. Excellent. Once again, Trojan detected. Trojan removed. Although I am seeing McAfee's cloud doing a lot of zero-day blocking, I'm not seeing a lot of blocking from their firewall or their intrusion prevention system, which is the actual zero-day component. Doesn't matter whichever component blocks it, as long as malware doesn't get through, I'm happy. Some of these actually have a digital signature, so I'm not sure about the authenticity of the malware. I cannot claim that all of this is actually malicious. Some of this may not be. So that's why we're not going to call anything just yet. We'll wait for all these programs to run, and then we're going to do some second opinion scans, and that should give us a much clearer picture. So what I'm going to do now is just to do a slightly better test. I will turn off real-time protection, and I'll grab some of my select infections and try to test out their intrusion prevention system, because that is an interesting component. I want to know if their actual zero-day component functions and if it's going to actually do anything to protect you. So we're not going to try these samples because some of them may have been crippled, but instead I'll just grab a few of these, which I know are fairly well-known malware. McAfee probably has a signature for them, but this way we can try out some of these files and actually come to see how McAfee responds if it gets malware like this, which is not in its signatures. I'm pretty sure that some of this malware does actually do some damage. We do have stuff running around in the background. In fact, we have quite a bit of stuff here. So I guess that's it. I'll just delete everything, and oops, I'm not going to delete everything. I'll just delete all the malware, and then I'm going to reboot the system, and then we'll see how many infections McAfee has let in. So I'll be back with the results from my second opinion scanners. So it's time for the verdict of the second opinion scanners. As you can see, Hitman Pro didn't detect anything. Malwarebytes has just detected a Trojan agent, temp.exe, very nice name, and some stolen data. So basically, one piece of malware and the data that it was trying to steal. I'm sure there are a couple of other infections which were not picked up by our second opinion scanners, especially these, Chinese adware. So I could probably do a scan with MCSoft and it'll probably detect a few more, but I mean, that's not the point. I think we have come to a conclusion here. And that is, McAfee isn't quite that bad. When you look at it security-wise, it did a fairly good job, considering all the malware I threw at it. We had so many samples, we ran all the zero-day malware, and we even grabbed our select infections and we ran some of them. So despite the fact that it doesn't have a proper zero-day component, in fact it does, its intrusion prevention system, but at the same time it's disabled from the factory and there's very little customization to it. So it's not a full-fledged zero-day component. So that's it. That's all McAfee has to offer in terms of defense against unknown malware, which seems insufficient in this day and age. Apart from that, though, the signatures and the cloud both have shown that they're really capable and they can keep your PC safe. So security-wise, not such a bad product. But then you come to think of the resource usage, the unreliability, and lots of other factors like the price, which is something I just haven't talked about. So ultimately, all these factors make McAfee a difficult to recommend product. I would definitely not recommend it even at this stage, although it didn't perform all that bad. It's not worth the price and the hit to the resources. There are so many other free products out there that you should definitely try out before dishing out your money to McAfee. At the same time, if you are using McAfee on your system and you've already paid for it, I don't think you should panic. You can go ahead and use your product. It's fine. It's not going to be an utter disaster. There are definitely even worse, in fact, much worse security products out there. So, I mean, there's no reason to hate on McAfee, but at the same time, as I said, for the price, the resource usage, and considering that it's an Intel product, you would definitely expect more security. So I hope you guys enjoyed this review of McAfee Live Safe. In fact, it was a review of McAfee Internet Security, which is a part of McAfee Live Safe. So hope you guys enjoyed it. Give the like button a hit if you did. Dislike it if you didn't like it, and just comment. Let me know your thoughts on this product of McAfee. Do you think McAfee has improved over the years? Do you think they're deteriorating? Do you think the next version is going to be any different? So I'd definitely like to know your thoughts on all these issues. But for now, it's time for me to go. I'll see you guys in the next Peace Security Channel video. Stay informed, stay secure.